Hi, my name's Tom Esch, coming to you from St. Paul, Minnesota, and today's topic is recognizing hazards on your job site. I've talked to a lot of people and trained a lot of people who do the kind of work you do and have been seriously injured. And when I ask them about it, what do you think they say? You think they say, "Boy, I saw that one coming," or "Yeah, that's what we were talking about in our safety hazard awareness meeting"? No, that's never what they say. They say, "I never saw it coming, Tom," or "It happened so fast." Uh, I'll show you a picture of a guy who said something like that and had his chest split open by a diamond blade while he was cutting some pipe. Here's the injury. Just a grisly, brutal injury. I don't like showing blood, but it's part of the business. And hopefully motivation for you to have excellent hazard awareness. In this situation, the blade pinched on the pipe, the saw kicked back, and the blade split his chest open. And when I did ask him later, how did it happen? Do you know? And he said what they often say, "I have no idea." I think we can all agree that that's not the right answer. There really only are a few causes for a kickback in a situation like that. Usually the material being cut is not properly supported. Sometimes it's an improper use of tools, or in very, very rare cases, the tool or the blade malfunctions. It seems to me he didn't have the pipe supported well enough and was probably moving too fast. The point is, you should have some ideas of the risks that can lead to injuries. And if you are injured, you should be able to explain the causes of that injury. But ideally, you want to understand the hazards and think about them and mitigate them before they happen, not after they happen. That man's lucky he was not the 592nd person killed. There's so many different ways to look at hazard recognition, so many different types of hazards: slips, trips, falls. You got traffic, you got COVID-19 stuff, we got ergonomic, lifting, repetitive movement. We can't cover everything here in 10 minutes, but we can discuss some of the main problems and challenges and how to overcome them. Good hazard recognition takes time, takes creative thinking. Mostly it takes the habit of doing it every time. What are some of the problems people have with hazard recognition? Take about 60 seconds right now, stop the video, and just talk about what are some of the problems and challenges that you have with recognizing hazards on your job. Okay, I hope you covered some of the challenges that you have. I'm wondering if you covered the typical ones. We're too busy, just not enough time to think about everything. Secondly, there's so many different types of hazards, it's impossible to look at all of them. Thirdly, if we're honest, we get complacent. We get kind of lazy, or we think, we don't really have to look at that. We're going to be fine. Fourth, we tend to think, some of us, it won't happen to me. Hasn't happened to me in 18 years. Ain't going to happen to me today. How can we overcome these challenges? I have 4 ideas. Number 1, change your mindset. The "it won't happen to me" is not a great approach to safety. How do you know it won't happen to you? How good is your crystal ball? You're actually safer if you change your mindset to "it could happen to me." How do you do that? You just make the decision. Use the power of your mind to protect your body. You are not disposable. I am not okay with you being injured, and I hope you're not either. Number 2, some of us say we're too busy to look at the hazards. I'd say you're too busy to not look at the hazards. It's exactly when you're too busy, when you're rushed, that injuries can happen. And that's the most important time to take the 2 minutes, the 3 minutes, to seriously look at the hazards on your job site. A lot of us are distracted right now by the stresses of COVID-19, or maybe the dynamics of some of the racial tensions that we have in our country. Number three, we say there's too many hazards. We can't track them all or think about them all. It's just too many, which is probably true. So two things. Number one, focus on the most serious hazards. Start with the big four, the ones that contribute to over half of all the fatalities in construction in the U.S. Falls, struck by, hit by things like a saw blade, electrical, caught in or caught between, like getting crushed between a truck and a building. Figure out which of these hazards are most present on your job site. And then secondly, find a way to eliminate or reduce the likelihood of these hurting someone, obviously. Don't just name it, figure out what to do about it, and then go do it. So in summary, there's several common issues with hazards, and many of us struggle with these. We think there's too many. We get complacent, we get too busy, and we think it won't happen to me. And there's solutions to these problems. We can change the mindset. We can decide that we're too busy to not take the time and just be disciplined. Your foreman, your supervisors, your owners will support this. And you may want to focus on the most serious, the big four, and then also think about the five different main categories of hazards. Number one, the common safety hazards, which we've mentioned: slips, trips, falls, struck by, faulty or poorly used equipment. All right, the common safety hazards, number one. Number two, chemical, biological, dust, silica, COVID-19, asbestos, that sort of stuff. Number three is ergonomic, or lifting, repetitive movement, right? Fourth, physical hazards such as weather, noise, radiation. And fifth, organizational hazards, communication, stress, interpersonal conflict. Those are all also hazards. So now it's practice time. Time to answer the question, what are the top 3 hazards on your job site today? And how can you reduce the risks that they represent? What can you do about each hazard to make things safer for everybody? Thanks again for your time. What you do today could prevent an injury or a death today. So I want to thank you for taking this seriously, and thank you for being willing to practice and to talk to each other. I know some of us don't like this. Athletes may not like doing sprints, but they have to do the sprints to keep in shape and perform at peak level. To become a conversational athlete, you have to work out every day by communicating, by practicing. Until next time, I'm Tom Esch, safety communication expert at your service.